The Grand Hall of the Galactic Academy was larger than most cities. Its ceiling was so high that it looked like the night sky, filled with glowing lights that moved like stars. Rows of seats curved around a massive central arena. Every seat was filled. Students from across the galaxy had gathered there. Some were tall and armored, with skin like stone. Others had glowing eyes, sharp claws, or strange shapes that no human had ever seen before. These were the best of their worlds, fighters, thinkers, survivors. And today, they were all silent. At the center of the arena stood a tall alien figure. His skin was deep blue, marked with lines that looked like ancient symbols. His eyes were cold and sharp. He wore long robes that moved slowly, even without wind. He was known across the academy. The professor. Not just a teacher, but a judge. Many students feared him. Some respected him. But no one ever ignored him. He raised one hand, and the entire hall became completely still. "Today," he said, his voice calm but heavy, "you will face a test." A low sound spread across the hall. Some students leaned forward. Others shifted in their seats. They had all heard stories. His tests were never simple. With a small motion of his hand, a glowing image appeared in the air above the arena. It started as a blur, then slowly became clear. A creature. No, a beast. It was massive. Its body was covered in thick, dark armor like skin. Its eyes burned with a red glow. Long claws scraped the ground as it moved. Its mouth opened, showing rows of sharp teeth. Even as a hologram, it felt real. Dangerous. Deadly. A quiet wave of fear moved through the audience. Some students looked away. Others tried to stay calm, but their bodies told the truth. They were afraid. The professor watched them carefully. "This," he said slowly, "is my beast." The creature in the hologram roared. The sound echoed through the hall, deep and powerful. A few students flinched. And this human girl was not what they thought she was. The arena was no longer quiet. Heavy breaths echoed through the air. The ground carried the marks of deep claws. Dust still floated where the beast had struck just moments before. Lyra stood a few steps away, her body steady, her eyes locked on the creature. The beast turned slowly. Now it understood something. This was not an easy fight. A low growl rose from its chest, deeper than before. Its red eyes burned brighter, filled with anger and hunger. Around the arena, the students leaned forward. No one spoke now. The shock from the first attack still held them. She dodged it. How is that possible? That speed, that timing. The whispers were quiet, almost afraid. A loud crack echoed. It was no longer testing. Now it wanted to kill. Without warning, it charged again. This time faster than before. Its body moved like a storm, heavy but quick. Its claws cut through the air, aiming straight for Lyra. She did not step back. She moved sideways again, but this time, she stayed closer. Very close. The claw missed her by a small distance, but the force of the strike still pushed air around her. Her hair moved with the wind of it. Gasps filled the hall again. Too close. She almost got hit. But Lyra did not panic. Her feet touched the ground lightly as she moved. She kept her balance. Her eyes stayed on the beast's shoulders, its legs, its movement. She was watching everything. The beast turned sharply and attacked again. Another strike. Another fast movement. But Lyra ducked this time. The claws passed over her head. For a moment, she was directly under the beast's body. Dangerous. Very dangerous. Many in the audience stood up in fear. She is trapped. But Lyra moved again, rolling out just before the beast could crush her with its weight. She stood up quickly, creating distance. Still calm. Still focused. The professor watched with deep attention now. His earlier calm face had changed slightly. This fight was not going as expected. She understands movement, he said quietly. She is not fighting the beast, she is studying it. The beast let out a loud roar. This time, it was angry. Very angry. Its tail swung wide, smashing against the ground. The impact sent a shock through the arena. Cracks spread across the floor. The air felt heavier now. More dangerous. The beast lowered its body slightly, preparing for another attack. But this time, it did not rush. It waited. Its eyes followed Lyra carefully. It was learning too. Lyra took a slow breath. For the first time, she moved forward. A small step. Then another. The audience froze. What is she doing? Why is she going closer? This was not what they expected. Most fighters would try to run, to escape, to create distance. But Lyra did the opposite. She stepped into danger. The beast watched her closely, confused for a moment. Then it attacked again. Fast. Brutal. Its claw came down with full force. But this time, Lyra did not just dodge. But she did not strike. Not yet. She moved past it, her steps quick and controlled. The beast turned again, faster now. Its movements were growing wild. Strong, but less controlled. The audience began to understand something. She is making it angry. She wants it to lose control. The reptilian student from earlier spoke again, his voice low. She is guiding the fight. Next to him, the other student said nothing this time. Because now, he could see it too. Back in the arena, the beast attacked again and again. Each strike was powerful. Each one could end the fight in a single hit. But each time, Lyra survived. She dodged. She stepped. She turned. Every movement small. Every movement exact. She was not wasting energy. She was not rushing. She was waiting. The beast, on the other hand, was changing. Its breathing grew heavier. Its attacks became faster, but less careful. It roared louder, frustration building inside it. It was not used to this. Not used to missing. Not used to being outplayed. The professor crossed his arms slowly. Now he was fully focused. This human, he said quietly, is not fighting with strength. He paused. She is fighting with time. Another attack came. The beast leaped forward, both claws striking down at once. A deadly move. The kind that had ended many fights before. The hall held its breath. But Lyra moved at the last second. She stepped back, then to the side. The claws crashed into the ground with a massive force. The impact shook the arena. Dust and small pieces of stone flew into the air. For a brief moment, the beast was stuck, its claws deep in the ground. Just for a second. But that second mattered. Lyra saw it. Her eyes sharpened. Her body moved. Not away this time. Forward. Fast. The audience gasped. She is attacking. For the first time, Lyra closed the distance fully. She moved along the beast's side, quick and silent. Her hand reached out. Not to strike hard. But to touch. To feel. To understand. She placed her hand briefly against its armored skin, then pulled away as the beast broke free from the ground. She jumped back, creating distance again. The move was small. But important. Very important. The professor's eyes widened slightly. She is mapping it, he said. She is learning its body. The beast turned again, now fully enraged. It roared louder than before. The sound filled the entire hall, shaking the air itself. Its red eyes locked onto Lyra with pure fury. Now it would not hold back. Now it would not wait. This was no longer a test for it. This was a hunt. And Lyra stood ready. Calm. Focused. Prepared. The real fight had just begun. The arena felt different now. The air was heavy. Dust still floated from the last. The ground was cracked, marked by deep claw lines and broken stone. In the center stood Lyra. Across from her, the beast. Both were still. But only for a moment. The beast's breathing was loud now. Deep. Angry. Each breath came like a growl. Its red eyes burned brighter than before, locked fully on Lyra. It was no longer testing. It was no longer learning. Now, it wanted to destroy. Around the arena, the students watched in complete silence. No one whispered anymore. No one doubted. They understood now. This human girl was not weak. She was dangerous. High above, the observers leaned forward. One of them spoke quietly, "The fight has changed." Another nodded. "Yes, the beast is losing control." "And the human?" a third asked. The first one answered slowly, "She is just getting started." Back in the arena, Lyra took a slow breath. Her chest rose, then fell. Her eyes did not leave the beast. But something inside her had changed. Before, she was only watching. Only learning. Now. She understood. The beast suddenly charged. Faster than ever before. Its claws cut through the air with full force, aiming to crush her in one strike. But Lyra did not move away. This time. She stepped forward. Gasps exploded across the hall. She's going toward it. Is she crazy? The beast's claw came down. But Lyra shifted her body just enough. The attack missed. Barely. The claw slammed into the ground behind her. And now. She was inside its range. Closer than ever before. Too close for most fighters. But not for her. She moved quickly along its side, her steps light and controlled. The beast tried to turn, but its own size slowed it down for a moment. That moment was enough. Lyra struck. Not with power. But with precision. A quick hit to a soft joint between the armored plates. The beast roared loudly. It felt that. The audience froze. She hit it. She actually heard it. The beast swung its tail wildly. Lyra jumped back just in time. The tail smashed into the ground where she had been standing, breaking more stone. The arena shook again. But now something was different. The beast was not just angry. It was reacting. Its movements were faster, but less controlled. More wild. More desperate. Lyra saw it clearly. Her eyes followed every move. Every mistake. Every opening. She moved again. Step. 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 Not running. Not rushing. Just moving with purpose. The beast attacked again. Another heavy strike. But this time, Lyra did not fully dodge. She blocked part of the movement by shifting her body, letting the attack slide past her instead of hitting directly. The force still pushed her slightly, but she stayed on her feet. Balanced. Controlled. The professor's eyes narrowed. She is not just avoiding anymore, he said softly. She is controlling the distance. Another attack came. This time from the side. Fast. Unexpected. But Lyra was ready. She ducked low, letting the claw pass above her. Then she moved forward again. Closer. Always closer. She struck again, another precise hit. Same area. Same weak point. The beast roared louder. Pain. Real pain. The audience could feel it now. She found a weak spot. How did she see that? The reptilian student spoke again, his voice low but clear. She didn't see it. He paused. She learned it. Back in the arena, the beast was losing patience. It slammed both claws into the ground again, trying to crush her with raw power. But Lyra had already moved. Each time the beast attacked, it used more energy. Each time it missed, it grew more tired. Its breathing became heavier. Slower. Louder. Lyra noticed everything. Her own breathing stayed calm. Controlled. She was not wasting energy. She was waiting. Waiting for the right moment. The turning point. Then it happened. The beast charged again, full speed, full force. A direct attack. No control. No patience. Just anger. The entire hall held its breath. This was dangerous. Very dangerous. One mistake. And it would be over. But Lyra did not step back. She stood her ground. At the last second. She moved. Not away. But slightly to the side. The beast missed. Its massive body continued forward. Too fast to stop. It crashed into the arena wall with a thunder-like impact. The entire structure shook. Cracks spread across the wall. Dust filled the air. For a moment. The beast was stunned. Just for a moment. But that moment was everything. Lyra's eyes sharpened. This was it. She moved instantly. Fast. Precise. She ran forward, closing the distance completely. The audience rose to their feet. This is it. She's going to finish it. Lyra reached the beast. She stepped onto one of its front limbs, using it to lift herself higher. Her movement was smooth. Practiced. She struck again. Directly at the weak point she had been targeting. This time stronger. More focused. The beast let out a powerful roar. Its body shook. It tried to fight back, but its movement was slow now. Too slow. Lyra jumped back, landing safely on the ground. She created distance again. Calm. Focused. Ready. The beast turned toward her one more time. But something had changed. Its movements were slower. Its strength was fading. Its anger had cost it everything. The arena was completely silent. No one spoke. No one moved. They all understood now. The fight had reached its turning point. The strongest creature in the arena was no longer in control. And the smallest fighter was. The arena was silent. Not the quiet of fear, but the quiet of realization. The beast stood in the center, its massive body rising and falling with heavy breaths. Its red eyes were still glowing, but not as bright as before. Its movements had slowed. Across from it stood Lyra. Small. Calm. Unshaken. For the first time since the fight began, the difference between them was clear, not in size, not in strength, but in control. High above, the observers watched without speaking. One of them finally whispered, "The beast is weakening." Another replied, "No, the human is winning." Back in the arena, the beast took a step forward. Then another. Slow. Careful. It was no longer rushing. It was thinking. Lyra watched closely. Her breathing was steady. Her body relaxed but ready. She had learned everything she needed. Now, it was time to end it. The beast growled again, but this time the sound was different. It was lower. Less confident. It circled her once more, but not as fast as before. It was searching for a chance. A final strike. Lyra moved slowly as well, matching its steps. Her eyes followed its shoulders, its legs, its breathing. Every small detail mattered. In her mind, memories returned again. Birth. A place full of danger. A place where survival was never easy. She remembered the lessons she had learned. Humans fall. Humans get hurt. But humans do not stop. They adapt. They learn. They endure. That was their strength. Not power. Not size. But persistence. Back in the present, the beast suddenly roared and charged again. One last attempt. One last attack. It gathered all its remaining strength and rushed toward her with full force. The audience gasped. This is it. Final attack. If she makes one mistake. But Lyra did not panic. She did not rush. She waited. Just like before. The beast came closer. 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 Then. She moved. Not away. Forward. The timing was perfect. She stepped to the side at the exact moment the beast struck. The claw missed her by inches. The ground cracked under the force. But Lyra was already moving. Fast. Focused. She ran along the beast's side again, her steps light and quick. The beast tried to turn, but it was too slow now. Too tired. This time, Lyra did not stop. She reached the front of the beast and moved upward, using its own movement to lift herself. The audience stood in shock. She's climbing it. How is she still so fast? Lyra reached the exact spot she had been targeting the entire fight. The weak point. Between the armored plates. She had hit it before. Twice. Now, she would finish it. Her body moved with full control. No wasted motion. No hesitation. She struck. One precise, powerful hit. Silence. For a single moment, everything stopped. Then. The beast let out a deep, broken roar. Its body shook. Its legs weakened. Slowly, it collapsed. The ground trembled as it fell. Dust rose into the air again, covering the arena in a soft gray cloud. And then. Nothing. The beast did not move. It was over. The arena stayed silent for a long moment. No one spoke. No one moved. It was hard to believe what they had just seen. Then, slowly. The truth began to settle. A human had won. Not just survived. Won. The hall erupted. Voices filled the air. Shock. Disbelief. Respect. How? She defeated it. A human defeated the professor's beast. High above, even the observers could not hide their reactions. One of them stood up. Incredible. Another said, "This changes everything." Back in the arena, Lyra stepped away from the fallen beast. Her breathing was slightly heavier now, but still controlled. She was not celebrating. She was not smiling. She was simply done. The professor began to walk toward her. Slow. Calm. But his expression had changed completely. There was no disappointment now. No mockery. Only respect. He stopped a few steps in front of her. For a moment, he said nothing. He looked at the beast. Then at Lyra. "You did not overpower it," he said finally. His voice was clear, carrying across the entire hall. "You did not match its strength." He paused. "You understood it." Lyra said nothing. The professor continued. "You learned its movements. You waited. You used its own strength against it." He looked directly into her eyes. "This is not common." The audience listened carefully. Every word mattered now. "What are humans?" the professor asked. The question echoed across the hall. All eyes turned to Lyra. She stood still. Calm. Then she answered. Her voice was simple. Clear. "We survive." Nothing more. No long speech. No pride. Just truth. The hall fell silent again. But this silence was different. Now it was filled with understanding. The professor turned to the audience. "Remember this moment," he said. "Strength is not always power." He looked back at Lyra. "Sometimes, it is something far more dangerous." The students watched her differently now. No one laughed. No one whispered. They saw her for what she truly was. Not weak. Not small. But strong in a way they did not understand before. And that truth would not be forgotten. The arena was still shaking from the fall of the beast. Dust slowly settled across the broken ground. Deep cracks ran through the stone floor, marking the place where the fight had ended. At the center stood Lyra. Small. Calm. Victorious. The massive body of the beast lay behind her, unmoving. Its heavy breaths were gone. Its red eyes had dimmed. It was over. But no one in the hall moved. No one spoke. Thousands of students from across the galaxy sat in complete silence, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. A human had defeated the professor's beast. Not with power. Not with strength. But with something else. Something they had not respected before. Slowly, the silence began to break. First, a whisper. Then another. Then many. She really did it. The beast, lost. How is this possible? Some students still looked confused. Others looked thoughtful. And some looked afraid. High above, the observers stood quietly, watching the scene below. One of them spoke in a low voice, "This will spread." Another nodded. "Every academy, every system, will hear about this." A third one added, "Humans will not be ignored anymore." Back in the arena, the alien professor stepped forward. His long robes moved softly as he walked. Every step was calm, controlled. But his presence filled the space. The whispers slowly faded as all attention returned to him. He stopped in front of Lyra. For a moment, he said nothing. He looked at her carefully, as if seeing her for the first time. Then he lowered his head slightly. It was a small movement. But in that hall, it meant everything. Gasps spread through the audience. The professor bowed. "I have never seen that. Not to anyone." Lyra did not react. She stood still, her expression unchanged. The professor straightened again. His voice was clear, strong, and carried across the entire hall. "Today," he said, "you have all witnessed something important." He turned slowly, looking at the students. "You believed strength was size." He paused. "You believed power was enough." His eyes moved across the crowd. "You were wrong." The words hit harder than any attack in the arena. Silence returned. The professor continued. "This human did not win because she was stronger." He glanced at the fallen beast. "She won because she understood." He looked back at Lyra. "She learned. She adapted. She waited." Each word was slow and clear. "That is true strength." The students listened carefully now. No one looked away. No one doubted. Because they had seen it with their own eyes. The professor stepped slightly to the side. "Lyra," he said, speaking her name once more. She looked at him. "What you have shown today will not be forgotten." He paused. "Not here. Not in this academy. Not in the galaxy." Lyra gave a small nod. Nothing more. She did not ask for praise. She did not seek attention. For her, the fight was over. The lesson was simple. Survive. The professor turned back to the audience one final time. "Let this moment be a lesson," he said. "Never judge a species by its appearance." He raised one hand, pointing slightly toward Lyra. "Because sometimes." His voice lowered just a little. "The smallest one can be the most dangerous." The hall remained silent. But now, the silence carried respect. Deep respect. Far in the back rows, the same students who had laughed before now sat quietly. Their eyes followed Lyra. Their thoughts had changed. The reptilian student who had watched closely earlier spoke again, his voice calm. "I told you." Next to him, the other student nodded slowly. "Yes." He paused. "I understand now." Back in the arena, Lyra turned away from the beast. She began to walk toward the exit. Step by step. Calm. Steady. No rush. No fear. As she walked, the massive doors at the far end slowly opened again. Bright light from the outside hallway entered the arena. For a brief moment, her figure stood between the shadows of the arena and the light beyond. A small human girl. Who had just changed how the galaxy saw her kind. Behind her, the whispers began again. But now they were different. Not doubt. Not laughter. Respect. Humans. They are not weak. If one can do this, what about the rest? The question spread quickly. From one student to another. From one group to the next. And far above, the observers understood something clearly. This was not just a single fight. This was a beginning. A shift. A change in how the galaxy would see humans from this day forward. The professor watched Lyra as she reached the exit. For a moment, his expression softened. Then he spoke quietly, almost to himself. Interesting species. Lyra did not turn back. She stepped through the door. And disappeared into the light. The doors closed slowly behind her. The arena remained. The students remained. But something had changed. Something important. Something lasting. And somewhere, deep in the vast galaxy, a new thought had begun to grow. A simple but powerful idea. Humans were not to be underestimated.